Oh God, today we're going to be reacting to her story. Subscribe to her story first before we get into this.
My best friend Diana tried to snatch the wig right off my head. I need it for prom tonight. It matches my dress perfectly. I stepped back, laughing nervously. Are you serious? It's my only medical wig since chemo started. It's molded to my scalp and I feel naked without it. But she rolled her eyes, tore it off my head, and bolted out the door, laughing. My heart broke because she'd held my hand through every chemo session. But through my window, I watched her speed off with it, and with prom 2 hours away, I had to get it back ASAP or face everyone bald. I called the doctor who made my wig, desperate for a replacement before prom. But the nurse sighed, "Honey, that wig bonds straight to your skin. A custom wig takes 3 months to make and $4,000. A tear fell down my face as I hung up. Then my phone buzzed, a notification that Diana had just posted. I opened it and my heart dropped. She'd posted herself wearing my wig, captioned, "New hair, who dis?" She'd stolen it off a girl with cancer, and no one knew. I couldn't let her get away with it, so I dragged myself to the school bald-headed. But the moment I stepped inside, a group of kids laughed and pointed at my head as I passed. My cheeks went red. Then I saw Diana in the middle of the crowd, flipping my wig over her shoulder. Her eyes met mine, she rolled them and laughed. My fists clenched, and I stormed toward her, not knowing how crazy this would get. "That's my wig!" I shouted, and the whole gym went quiet. "She knew I had cancer and snatched it off my head this morning." Diana laughed. "It's mine now. I look better in it anyway." But the crowd wasn't laughing with her, and someone yelled, "Give it back!" Soon, everyone was chanting it. Cornered, Diana grabbed the wig and yanked, but it didn't move. She pulled harder, panic in her eyes. "Why won't it come off?" So I said it loud enough for everyone to hear. "It's a medical wig. It bonds to bare skin, not hair. You glued it to your own head." Her face went white, and she bolted to the bathroom. I followed, and she was already hacking at it with school scissors, ripping it free as her own hair tore out in patches. My wig tore apart in the sink. She sank to the floor crying, but I barely noticed because I caught my reflection, nothing on my head, and realized I didn't need a wig to feel beautiful. My best friend Diana tried to snatch. A man and I spotted the same Aldi cart with a quarter stuck in the slot and ran for it at the exact same time. Our hands hit the handle together, and the cart rolled forward hard enough to bang into the metal railing. "I got here first," he said, pulling it toward himself. I dug my shoes into the pavement. Your hand landed on top of mine. The quarter was wedged halfway out of the lock, close enough to see but too deep to grab, and neither of us had another coin. An old woman returning her cart stopped beside us. "Are you two really fighting over 25 cents? The man tightened both hands around the handle. "She is." That was enough to make me stop trying to be reasonable. I yanked the cart back, and he stumbled into the metal railing while the crowd closed in around us. One man claimed I'd reached it first, but a woman filming on her phone said the cart had rolled toward him, which apparently made it his parking lot law. The manager pushed through the crowd with pliers and told us whoever owned the quarter could take the cart. We both said, "I do." He pulled on the coin, but it wouldn't move, so the man grabbed the pliers and snapped the cart chain off the lock. The manager's radio hit the ground, security came outside, and the man threatened to report me for stealing his quarter. I called the police before I could talk myself out of it. The manager checked the security footage and said the man's hand had reached the cart first. The crowd turned toward me, and suddenly I was the woman who'd called the police because she lost a quarter. 2 patrol cars rolled into the lot with their lights flashing, and an officer separated us while his partner examined the broken cart lock. She worked the quarter loose with a screwdriver, held it beneath her flashlight, then dropped it onto the hood of the cruiser. It landed with a dull plastic click. "This isn't a quarter." The man stopped yelling. She scraped away the silver paint with her key, exposing a homemade token stamped with a crooked George Washington. "It's counterfeit." The officer sealed the fake quarter into an evidence bag, and my hand dropped off the cart like the handle had burned me. The man pointed at me. "She found it first." I pointed back. He said it belonged to him. The officer marched us towards separate cruisers, and as the man dug into his pocket for his keys, a real quarter slipped out, bounced twice across the pavement, and rolled under the cart. He'd had one the whole time. A man and I spotted the same Aldi cart with a
quarter slipped out. Yeah.
I was about to walk down the aisle on my wedding day when my dad fainted right in front of me. 1 second he was straightening my veil, and the next his knees buckled and he went down. I looked down, and a red spot was blooming through the fabric. I went pale. 200 guests were on the other side of those doors. My fiancé was waiting at the altar, and the photographer was already shooting the aisle. People forget weddings, but nobody will ever forget that the bride walked out with a huge red period stain. I pressed my bouquet over it in a panic, but you can't walk an aisle holding flowers against your hip. So I grabbed a fistful of tissues, wet them, and started scrubbing as hard as I could. The water only spread it wider and turned the white pink. A bridesmaid called through the door, "Come on out, they're playing your song." I froze, yelled, "I'm coming," and waited for her heels to fade. Then the song ended and started over. 200 people and my fiancé had just heard my entrance play twice and knew there was a problem. Then the handle turned without so much as a knock. I went white with horror. My fiancé's mother was standing in the doorway, looking right at the stain. I had met her maybe 3 times, and now she was seeing my worst nightmare. "I just spilled some wine," I blurted. She looked at me for 1 second. Then she stepped inside, shut the door door behind her and locked it. She dug into her clutch and pressed a folded pad into my hands. Then she pulled out a stain pen and went at the stain with 3 fast strokes. She unclipped the satin sash from her own dress, tied it around my waist, and the last shadow disappeared under it. There, you look even better. Then she lowered her voice, and her words made my legs go weak. It happened to me at my own wedding too. Not one person ever knew. She slipped back out first. My dad woke up just in time to watch me pick my bouquet back up and smiled when he saw my dress. When the song started for the 3rd time, the doors opened. Everyone stood up and turned around, and every phone in the room came up. Halfway down, I found her in the 2nd row, smiling like nothing had ever happened. I walked down that aisle in a clean white dress and married her son. There's been a stain pen in my clutch at every wedding since. I was about to walk down the aisle on my wedding day when my dad fainted right in front of me. 1 second, he was straightening my veil, and the next, his knees buckled and he went down. I looked down, and a red spot was blooming through the fabric. I went pale. 200 guests were on the other side of those doors. My fiancé was waiting at the altar, and the photographer was already shooting. My husband looked at the itinerary I'd been building for 6 months and said, "This isn't a real trip." We were at the airport scale with our bags already checked in. I had circled the private dock in blue pen and written Sunrise Coffee next to the first morning. He held it up like junk mail. I told people we were going somewhere worth taking time off for, like the Maldives. The ticket agent's hand stopped on the keyboard. That trip—
Well, because you shouldn't have wrote on it. That's why he wants to cancel this trip, her story.
took 6 months of research, 2 extra shifts a week, and every vacation day I'd saved since our wedding. I slid his ticket back across the scale. "Cancel this one." He blinked. "What are you doing?" I grabbed my suitcase before he could touch the handle. "Taking the trip." I called my best friend from the curb. "You still have PTO?" By the time we got to the cabin, my best friend had her shoes off before I unlocked the door. She walked straight to the window, looked out at the dock and the lake, and said, "Are you kidding me right now?" Like an accusation. I had the welcome basket on the counter with the little breakfast jam I ordered because my husband loved it on our honeymoon, and 2 wine glasses I packed for us. She looked at the glasses, looked at me, opened the bottle, and filled both. My phone lit up on the dock that night. "This is embarrassing. Where are you? Call me." She reached over and turned it face down without a word. I lifted my hand to stop her, but set it back down. I woke before sunrise, wrapped myself in the cabin blanket, and walked out to the dock alone. The lake went from black to blue to pink to gold, and I stood there and watched the whole thing. Then I called him. He answered from our couch in yesterday's shirt. I didn't say anything. I turned the camera out over the water and held it up. He stared. Behind me, the cabin door opened, and my best friend stepped onto the dock, handed me a coffee, and sat in the other chair. He watched her do it. "It's not the Maldives," I said, "but someone's here for it." I ended the call. She wrapped both hands around her mug. "Okay," she said. "I get why you circled the dock." My husband— I was working at the zoo when I saw a girl trying to—
Wait,
My husband looked at the itinerary. I was working at the zoo when I saw a girl trying to feed the hippo Lucky Charms. At first, I thought it must have been a misunderstanding, but as I walked over, I immediately realized that I recognized her. We locked eyes and she heckled, "Hippo Hannah, how ironic it is to see you here. I missed you." My body shivered because it was Bethany, my high school bully, the one who convinced the entire school to throw their lunch at me in the cafeteria. I gritted my teeth because it had been 5 years since I'd heard that nickname. "Please avoid feeding the animals. It could kill them." She squinted at me and grinned. "Do you have a soft spot for hippos, Hippo Hannah?" My face went hot the way it used to. She lifted her phone and aimed it at me. "Guys, remember the girl who ate her feelings in 11th grade? She scoops hippo crap now." She turned back towards the water with both her hands extended, one with the phone and one with the Lucky Charms. Daisy the hippo looked confused, and her head came up, mouth wider than the woman's whole body. I gripped Bethany's shoulder. "Get back. She's not a prop." She yanked back and laughed. "Relax, Hippo Hannah. What's it gonna do? Eat me? It can't be that hungry." My heart was slamming with adrenaline because I knew how fast Daisy could launch herself when food was involved. But Bethany smirked at the camera. "Takes a hippo to know a hippo. Hippos of a feather flock together." She was cackling, reciting one punchline after the other. That's when I decided to take my hand off her shoulder. "Okay, if you want Daisy so bad, then you got it." Suddenly, Daisy rose out of the water like a shark, and some of the visitors got so scared they ran away. Bethany dropped her phone, and water splashed everywhere as she chomped the entire box, and Bethany was covered in dirty sewage water. I picked up her phone and turned the camera towards her. "Everyone say hi to Bath Time Bethany, Hippo Poop Edition." I was working at the zoo when I saw a girl trying to feed the hippo Lucky Charms. At first, I thought it must have been a misunderstanding, but as I walked over, I immediately realized that I recognized her. We locked eyes and she heckled, "Hippo Hannah, how ironic it is to see you here. I missed you."
sorry.
I had been rotting on my couch for 3 days after I broke up with my boyfriend when my phone lit up with a Bluetooth notification I had never seen before. A device named "You Are in Danger" was requesting to pair. I jumped up and checked that every door and window in my apartment was locked. I was alone, and I knew I was alone, so I told myself it was probably some kid in the building messing around. I told myself that, but then I pressed connect anyway because I had to know what it was. Every light in my apartment went out at once, and I pressed my back against the wall. My Bluetooth speaker turned on by itself, and a flat mechanical voice filled the room. "You are in danger." I grabbed a knife from the kitchen counter and got backed into the corner with both hands shaking. The lights came back on one room at a time, starting from the far end of the apartment and moving toward me slowly. "You are in danger." I pointed the knife at the hallway. "Who's there?" The bedroom light clicked off and something shifted in that room. "You are in danger." I grabbed my phone and called 911, and the operator picked up immediately. "Someone is in my apartment. Please hurry." She told me to stay on the line, and I stood exactly where I was with my eyes on the bedroom door, the knife up, and her voice in my ear until blue lights came through the window. The officers checked every room, and one of them reached behind the radiator and came back up holding a small black box with a blinking light. "This is what was running your lights and your speaker." I was still shaking when a fist hammered on my door. My ex shoved past the officer in the doorway and grabbed my arms. I knew something was wrong. I felt it all night. "Are you okay?" Nobody had called him. The officer asked him to step outside, and they found the app still open on his phone. He'd planted it the week I ended it, so I'd get scared enough to call him, and he could come running to save me. He came running, straight into a pair of handcuffs. The officers walked him out to the police car, and he was still asking if I was okay, still asking if we could get back together. I had been rotting on my couch for 3.
Okay, this is the last short.
Me and my dad were sitting in the kitchen when all the lights in the house turned off. I took my dad's hand. "Dad, did you miss the electric bill again?" He sighed and took out papers to sign up for the fishing crew again. "It's not just the electric bill, sweetie. We're behind on everything. If I don't make money this winter, the bank will take the house." I grabbed the pen and signed myself up instead. "You can't go out there. You're 70. You'll die." He pushed himself up on his cane. "Absolutely not. The water is dangerous and isn't fit for a little girl like you."
Sorry. Video. Sorry, I just got a comment on every short. I don't know why.
I scoffed, already pulling on an old yellow rain jacket from the hook. For some reason, his face went white when he saw what I'd grabbed, but I wasn't paying attention to that. I just walked out, getting ready to prove him wrong. When I got to the dock, the captain looked me up and down and laughed. "A little girl like you wants to fish? You'll be crying by Thursday." I shoved past him and got on the boat anyway. Every night, my dad would insist on calling me just to hear me breathe and know I was still alive. I'd roll my eyes and think he was crazy. Until the 9th day, when the sky turned black and the waves climbed higher than the boat, because a wall of water crashed over the side and swept the man next to me off his feet, sliding him straight toward the open ocean. But I lunged and caught his collar, and his weight dragged me halfway over the rail before I jammed my boot under the bar and held on. 2 men hauled us both back. The captain stared at me through the rain. "Get below, Mara." It was the first time he'd ever called me by my name instead of little girl. We came back with the boat sitting low, packed so full of fish that my cut from the season covered everything we owed with money left over. I walked into the house and dropped the soaked yellow jacket on the kitchen floor, too worn out to hang it up. I smirked. "Told you I'd survive the water, Dad. What were you so worried about?" Dad lunged off his chair and caught it before it touched the ground. His wrinkled hands shook as he held it up, and he pressed it to his face and breathed it in. "This was your mom's." He sat down slowly. "The sea took her 8 years ago. I couldn't stand in this kitchen one more winter and watch it take you too." He wasn't underestimating me. He was scared. Now every winter he drives me to the docks and waits in the truck while I pull Mom's jacket off the hook and head out on the water for the both of them.
Just for a reminder, subscribe to her story and also subscribe to join the Yahya Gang. See you in the next his video, and I will probably make a video on his story, but bye.